Hey, elite entrepreneurs and empire builders, welcome to Franchise Opportunities. Man, another Wednesday live spotlight interview with another CEO. And this isn't just any other CEO. Like, I am super pumped and excited to bring to you, put this person in front of you and her brand, her story. It's an incredible opportunity. So whether you're watching this live right now or watching this later, later date, sometime, somehow, man, I'm just pumped to introduce this brand to you, because it is a brand that over the last 2-3 years has really been kind of just blowing up the space that they're in. And so I know it's kind of like, what are you talking about? Well, we'll get to that in just a second. So I'm excited about it. So basically, this is what we do here in this group, this Franchise Opportunities for Elite Entrepreneurs, is we look at some of the best opportunities for franchising that are possible worldwide. And I've been able to work with several clients and people just inside this Facebook group too, with that same heartbeat. And I'm a family man. I got 3 kids myself. I love working with people who are all about, man, how can I provide a better life for my family, my kids? How can I be a family leader and kind of a legacy leaver and kind of work toward the generational wealth? Well, I think franchising really is one of the best ways, if not the best way you can possibly do that, for a number of different reasons. And this brand specifically, I believe, is going to get you there. Today, we're looking at a brand called Toastique. Toastique has just recently, within the last few weeks, opened up a couple new opened up new cities. They're going to be in Wichita, Kansas. They're going to be in the LA area. They're going to be in a place called Danvers, Massachusetts. So literally East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, anywhere this brand works. In the first 2 years that they have been franchising, they awarded over 66 locations and continuing to boom and grow every single month. And so this is a hot brand right now, but I promise you, while the door is open right now, it won't be for long. If you have not heard of this brand, trust me, I promise you will, and you will very soon. So this is literally one of those times I'm telling you, like, hey, jump on this opportunity if you can, because where you live in your city, I promise this is going to boom. This is going to grow. You want to be a part of it. They've been recognized with many awards through like the Washington Business Journal. They've been recognized several times from the Best of DC, which is where they're based out of. They've been recognized on the Entrepreneur's top new and emerging list of 2023. They were like 120 on that list. So incredible like recognition they're experiencing just in the first few years of development. This is a low cost barrier of entry with incredible financials. And we'll get there, that whole story today, as we get to welcome in Brianna Keefe, who is one of Forbes' 30 Under 30 and just recently was awarded Forbes' 30 Under 30 All-Star Alumni Award, which just, I didn't even know that was possible. I think that they just like created that for Brianna, because it's like, man, we got to give her something else because she's killing it. And so excited, real excited to bring her in today. And so let's go ahead and get started. Yeah.
Open the doors. It was just this overflow of feedback of people saying, I want to open one. This needs to be in my hometown. The health food marketplace that Toastique is in, I think, is skyrocketing. Everything is fresh, chopped, mixed, juice, blended. It's a very simple and efficient model. It can be ran by 2 or 3 people. Up to our busiest days, we have between 8 and 10 on. So you're able to scale the labor for the volume. 9 out of 10 people take a picture of their food because our food has that wow factor. Common question is, who's our direct competitors? And we truly believe we don't have any direct competitors. Everyone on our team is here to help and make sure everyone is just as successful as we are. So the support really never ends. We know Toastique is special and we are excited for it to grow, but seeing it flourish in new markets and new areas is something really special.
Well, without further ado, let's welcome in the one and only Brianna Keefe. Everyone's cheering, everyone's hollering. They're excited to get to know you, excited to hear about this brand, Brianna Toastique. Welcome to the Facebook group for elite entrepreneurs and empire builders. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much. What a great intro. I'm really excited to be here and to tell everyone a little bit more about my story and Toastique and kind of our vision for the next few years.
Yes, love it. Let's dive right in. Because that's what they're here to hear. They hear your story. So tell us just a little bit about yourself. We'll start there, and then we'll get into the brand story too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always, since I was younger, just had a very active lifestyle. Always on the go when I was younger. In high school, I was on the diving team for my high school, and then did all-star cheering outside of high school. So I would go to practice 5 days a week for diving, go straight to cheering after school, and I always just love that. Really don't like sitting around or being
Yeah,
bored.
right.
So my first job as well was in a restaurant. I was host serving. I went to college at JMU, James Madison, and got a degree in hospitality management, minor in
Yeah.
business. Really just where I thrived. I am a people-oriented person. I love being around people, making small connections and networking, and really just that's kind of how Toastique formed, is combining my passion for restaurants and people into what I truly enjoy. Like Toastique is what I fueled myself with. I love just
Yeah.
colorful, beautiful, healthy ingredients. I don't have any professional culinary experience or background. It's just how I always made food for myself. So very simple but delicious.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a very aesthetic brand, as you can see. And I think that's just very important because people do really eat with their eyes first. Whether they say they do or don't, they always do.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, they do. And they eat with their Instagram too. Right. And so, and that's where a
Yeah.
lot of people will get there. Like, where am I going? We're going to go, go get some food. Let's see what's, I saw this on Instagram. This is that brand that's going to, like, it has been blowing up social media, is because of the look and the aesthetics of it. And so stay tuned too. At the very end of this interview, you're actually, you viewers are actually going to get a look on the inside, a tour of one of their stores as well. And so excited to kind of unpack that a little bit with you all. But tell us then a little bit, because I know you've done this several times now. Tell us a little bit about the story of Toastique. Kind of when did it start? When did it start franchising? Give us the goods.
Yeah, yes. So we opened our very first store in July of 2018 for the sole vision reason to create myself a job, to go somewhere where I was happy, that I was passionate about doing this. After college, I was working in events in downtown DC, and I loved it. I truly did, but I was getting extremely burnt out. I was very self-aware of my commitment and drive and how much of a hard worker I am, but I also couldn't
Yeah.
see the vision of, climbing the corporate step ladder. Even though I was like 2 years out of college, I really wanted to feel rewarded for the work I was putting in. And in
Yeah.
my eyes, I was like, I don't have a family. I don't have pets like that. Or kids, I should say. I have a family. Sorry. But I don't have kids that I need to feed. I don't have family to feed.
Yeah.
So worst case, if this doesn't work out, I can go get a serving job. I can go get a hospitality job. So in my eyes, I was like, I have nothing to lose at this point of time. So the first store in 2018, I was 24. The vision was create myself a job. It's 1,000 square feet. It's everything I've ever wanted. And as soon as we opened in July, the middle of summer, we just hit the ground running. The feedback we got was just insane. DC is very touristy as well. So there's people from all over the world that were like, I need this. I need this by my home. That's really when I was like, we are onto something here. Let's figure out how we're going to grow strategically and doing it the right way. Really ultimately deciding with franchising, I wanted someone who was passionate like me, who is people oriented like me, because in my eyes, people that have the passion and their money and time invested into it, they should care more than a manager we send across the country to, open it and hold brand standards. So, that's kind of the decision behind it. So far, it's been working out very well. And really, I guess it was 2019, we opened our second corporate store 9 months later. And then at the end of 2019 is when we really started to create all of our franchise documents, getting all the marketing material. And, you know, that takes a lot of time.
Wait. So you started creating all of that, right? Like just before COVID hit.
Yes. And
okay.
the reason, I'll tell you the reason we kept pushing through, you know, at that point in time, we opened our second store, April 2019, again, was doing really great. When the pandemic came, yes, it was, you know, there's so many unknowns. And in the beginning, our sales were down 70% of March of 2020, but with the 2 stores we had open, we never closed our doors once. And we realized we were able to scale our labor down to the volume that we had and still be just as profitable as we were the year before. And that's really the reason why we kept pushing through, because we're like, this is pandemic proof. And, you know, it's not like a regular restaurant where you need 5 people just to operate. You know, it's even on the grill and stove and dishes and register, where in the pandemic, it was me at one store working open and close, and I'd have another person come in just for a few hours to help with prep and juice. And we really did thrive through the pandemic, as crazy as that sounds. We ended up opening our third corporate store in July of 2020. So, you know, as a lot of places were kind of stepping back or closing, we really took that opportunity to go full force into our growth and franchising.
Yeah, incredible. Because and that's such a great story that I think so many people inside this Facebook group can and will relate to, is just the work and the effort, the grit that it requires to really be a successful entrepreneur. And it doesn't just happen overnight. There's going to be a lot of speed bumps along the way. Like, who knows, maybe a pandemic comes out of nowhere, but you pivot. And when you're on something good, when you have a good idea like Toastique, continue to grind with it, because you're going to find success. So tell us then, we've seen some pictures and videos then of what it does. So we've seen some pictures of like toast and some kind of bowl with that purple stuff in it. So tell us a little bit about, like, what does the brand, what is it, what need is it meeting? What does it provide? Tell us a little bit about, you know, the inside of Toastique.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we're providing for is something healthy and quick. You don't have to sacrifice one or the other to get what you want. That was really my main thing. And living in DC specifically, I was like, we need more of this. And I love toast, and I think it's such a, you know, there's just so much more we could do with it. And you know, you see a lot of toast on menus, but it's just a side. It's just one small piece with like a little bit of peanut butter, avocado. But to me, that's what kept me fueled in college. I cheered in college, and between classes and games, we had lifting. I was always having a toast on the go, a smoothie on the go. Like, Toastique fueled me throughout college without, you know, being Toastique, essentially. And I think that there are so many places that try to act healthy and they're not. And there's so many places that, you know, that are just not healthy, you know, so you're always sacrificing one for the other. And I think we're really filling that void of, you don't have to sacrifice that. We're not adding extra sugars or sweeteners into anything. We're making all of our toppings in-house, down to our peanut butter, our hummus, like everything's made in-house, that there's no chemicals or preservatives. And I think, you know, people can really taste the difference and really appreciate that. And I think I truly believe that with the right partners, Toastique will be sustainable for many, many years to come, because that's still, you know, there lacks that. And many cities and towns and really anywhere, just something quick and fast and actually healthy for you.
Right. Yeah, you're in such a great white space, because even like the fast food restaurants that everyone knows worldwide, they like their solution to trying to appease more of a healthier mindset is like, here's one food option that we're going to call a power something, you know, and or we're going to put it in a bowl and make people think it's healthy, you know. And so to be able to provide something quick and efficient and it's healthy, sustainable for you, provides the energy you need. Like that is it. It's so health and fitness and nutrition wellness is such a huge growing space right now. And so you're in the perfect spot for it. So that's great. What kind of owner are you looking for then?
Yeah, honestly, for such a young stage, I know we just had our 5-year anniversary in July, so only 5.5 years old from our first store. Toastique is my baby, and my main job is to protect it. So really someone who's truly passionate about it. Not only one that makes me, sleep better at night, but two, if there is another pandemic, whatever, if I was not passionate about it in 2020, we would have gave up, shut our doors, but I was like, no, we are going to make it through. That's when we added our line of wellness shots. We actually, fun fact, we didn't even have online ordering or working with third parties prior to the pandemic because I was like, the toasts are going to get soggy, smoothies are going to melt. And that's actually not an issue at all. I always just, again, wanted to protect like that experience and quality. But you need to, when times get tough, you need to be able to lean in and do what you can to get through it with our support. And I think that's really important too. I mean, people who want to, like you said in the beginning, like change your life, have a different career path, do something better for their family. Like you have to be passionate about it, because at the end of the day, you still are running your own business. And it's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding as well. And I feel like if you lack that passion, you're going to get bored, or you're going to get burnout, or, you're going to want to move on to the next thing. And that's not what we want for the brand either. We want people who are truly see our vision, understand our vision, and want to be part of that in their community.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Tell us then about the investment itself. What can people expect as far as the franchise fee goes? Do you have a minimum maximum threshold in your FDD listed as far as the investment goes? Tell us a little bit about what they can expect.
Yeah, so right now we have a single unit deal at $55,000, and our 3-pack is at $110,000. That is the initial franchise fee. For the actual investment, it varies a lot. In the FDD, I believe it says around $300,000 to max up to a little bit over $600,000. And the main thing for that is the type of space that it was before. Regardless, our costs are going to be much lower than a regular restaurant, because we don't have the overhead. We don't need a hood, gas stove, anything like that, which really brings the cost down. But there's spots where we experienced ourselves with a corporate store. One of our Denver stores that just opened in November took over an old juice bar. So they had the cheapest construction. That was like $130,000. But then, there's spots that are cold, dark shell, which is exactly what it sounds like. And those are the ones that are a little more costly, that can get up to $400,000, $500,000. But the benefit of that is you get to design every inch of it from scratch. So that's really the wild card of that investment. But really just having the proper square footage. Like I said, like nothing is too expensive, the equipment wise. So really just finding the right space, which we help with, and really figuring out the franchise partners' goals as well, and budget. If they really want to find a second generation space, we'll do that. Or if they keep their mind open, we can look at both until we find the right one.
But it's not a build out. It's not a full separate building from the ground up. You just need to find a plot of land. It's in a already established space.
Yeah. We really kind of consider it like a glorified residential kitchen. It's truly what it is. And even with contractors too, Kyle, my partner, his background is in engineer. He's been in construction his whole life, essentially. So he vets all the local contractors. But what we say is, if you don't have someone in mind, if you don't have a family friend, just go to a local coffee shop, someone that you like their finishes, like the build out, and talk to the owner and get the information. Like, the build out of it is not intense. Like, it is just kind of a glorified residential kitchen.
Yeah. Okay, great. Which is a great way to go with something like this. And that's what I even mentioned up front, is how the low barrier of entry to get into the food space, especially a healthy food space option like this. Because you look at mean, it's not a healthy food option, but like, I think I always go back to Taco Bell. I think it's like you can expect to spend $1.5 million as your overall investment, somewhere around there. So like to have a fraction of that, I mean, it's a great opportunity, right? So then the numbers make sense. So tell us about then support for your franchisees. That's something that I talk to a lot of people about, and they're curious. What does that mean? Do you actually support us, or you just take our franchise fee and our royalties and just say best of luck to you?
Yeah, no, I think if there's one thing that we maybe do a little bit different or whatever, is very much support our franchisees. I am a perfectionist, and along with our corporate team here, and I'm fully aware that we are only successful as our franchisees are successful. So every step of the way, we have someone that they are exactly working with in their realm, whether that's IT, project management, operations, training, down to every little detail. And after opening, it's also not, okay, you open, good luck. We also have weekly calls until both parties feel very comfortable that they fully understand what they're doing. With restaurants, labor is the one thing that can make or break you. And so we have access to the schedule to make sure that we are always aligned until the franchisee feels comfortable. Okay, I got it. I don't need your guidance anymore. My labor percentage is on target, and that's what we need. And that's we even kind of joke that it gets to the point where people are like, to us, they're like, please stop calling me, like, I get it. But it's so important to get everything perfect and right on the first time. As a young brand, especially going into new markets, first impressions are everything. And not only first impressions, but also we want our franchisees to be profitable. So we have a minimum of 90 days after you open to have those weekly calls. And we are all very detailed, and I think that's one thing we do very well is any lessons learned that we have, we implement it the next day if we need to. Regrouping after every opening, talk about the positives, if there's anything that we need to tweak, so that everyone can be as successful as us from day one.
Yeah, it's not just philosophical training. It's real tactile things that they need to change. And here, let's put it into practice right now. And the beauty of this, elite entrepreneurs, I want you to hear, is that this is Brianna's baby. This is her dream. This is something that is in her heart. And that's not always the case with every franchisor. There are a lot of franchisors out there that this is just one of several brands for them, or this is just their next one, or this is just a stepping stone. This is Brianna's heart, and she wants this to succeed the same, if not more, than you'll want this Toastique to succeed where you are too. And so that in and of itself gives this brand a huge leg up, I believe. But and that's something you mentioned. You mentioned success and some of the financial things, and that's everyone's question is like, great, how much money is selling toast really going to get me, right? Like, how much can I make at the end of the day? But before you get there, you've mentioned some other, like you've always wanted to find success for your franchisees. So do you have any unique stories of success of any of your current franchisees that you'd want to share?
Yeah, I mean, our success is their success. And I think one of the most exciting things is, openings are my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I only have missed one just because I could not physically be there. But we had 5 other members of our team being there, and I had the worst FOMO, and I was like, I'm never missing an opening again. People say, oh, you're gonna, let go, and you're gonna have like all the corporate trainers go, and I was like, up until I physically cannot, or if there's 2 openings on one day, which we're not trying to have that, I will be at every opening. And I think one of the greatest things is, for me, is seeing how well, it's like reliving the first store all over again, going into a new market, having a whole new different clientele that is so excited about the brand. And it's exciting when they're franchise stores, and you can see the owner like feel that energy, because I think that's what's so rewarding about it is you're doing all this work. Everyone knows the franchise process just takes a while. It takes so long, and then the build out. And finally, when you get the doors open, It's your store. You have your team there. These are your customers walking in, and the franchise owners are just, glowing just like I did in the first store. And I think that's what's so rewarding. And just to keep those standards from day one in any store. And, having, which kind of goes back to, you have to have the passion and being a people-oriented team. That's what's so, I think, special about Toastique, just being part of the community. So having a great team that also enjoy being there, and then following our process and our systems is really the two things to a successful Toastique. We're perfectionists. We don't know everything, but at this point, we're like, I think we almost know everything. At least we have learned some lessons. We've experienced it all. And so really being able to have those great partners in place that are excited about it, and then they're following our system, and they're just hearing us out on how they should schedule to make the most efficient, to have the most efficiencies in their store. Those two things right there is how a Toastique will be very successful.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And I love how much you've mentioned several times now on this call, this interview, your team, and just you talk really highly of them. And that's really encouraging to hear from a CEO, because you don't always get that, especially someone who has found so much success so early in life, and kind of the stardom that you found in some ways too through this as well, to speak so highly of your team. Like, man, I want to get to know them and hear their stories. I'm excited for the elite entrepreneurs on this call or watching later to meet this team and really see what Brianna sees in them, and to know this is who is going to be behind you every step of the way. It's exciting. But still, at the end of the day, right, it always comes down to, how much will I make on this? And although we're not about to sit here and go, hey, you are going to make, you can't do that. That's not a thing, right? Well, it is, but it's illegal. But tell us a little bit about the financial side of it too. Like, what could ROI potentially look like, or have looked like? Can you share a little bit about the item 19 in your FDD?
Yeah. So we do have a wide range right now. 22 stores open. We have a wide range of ROI. So we have people that have made their return in the first year, really just hit the ground running. And we have people where it'll probably take 3 years. So we really kind of like to set the expectation of 2 to 3 years being a good goal. We're typically a little more conservative on our goals. Again, don't want to set anyone up for wrong expectations.
Well, we like to use the term realistic.
Right. And I think it's one thing that, we and myself are a very transparent brand. I know why Toastique is amazing, but I always say I don't really have a sales pitch, because I'll tell you, it's a lot of work. You have to have the grit to do it. You got to be great at building a team. This is a people person business. And the ROI, our goal is for franchisees to get all their investment back on year 2 or 3, but there has been stores that have done it much sooner. So, we make highly strong suggestions, down to the location is so important, especially as a new brand, and following our systems, and also, our recommended marketing budget as well. That also can play a factor in that.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Which is so good, because even if you are as a entrepreneur on the longer side of that, if you're looking at 3 years of getting your money back, that is still a way huge step up on the whole fast food QSR restaurant industry. In anything in that space, you're still there's so many more options you could look at, even with some of the fast food places we've talked about too. You're not going to see your return on that for quite a while. So to even be on the long side of Toastique's range there of the 3-year mark is incredible. To be at a 1 year and see all your money back, that's nuts. That's just unheard of. So again, don't hear those numbers go that's not very good. That's actually incredible. And so this is going to be one of those opportunities that again, like we said at the top, if you can hop on it, or I don't want you to miss out. Right. So, okay. But you said, Brianna, you don't really have a sales pitch, and I get that. But if you had one shot, I'm going to give you one shot here, last chance. One shot to speak directly to someone who is on the fence watching this right now about investing into your brand as a franchisee. We're watching this, they're hanging on. What would you say? Bring them in.
Yeah. So really the main thing that I would say is that what Toastique is doing here is really kind of redefining the way people think of fast food and even franchising. You know, people with franchising and fast food, they think of McDonald's and Subways, and the way that we kind of want to recreate that is, like I mentioned earlier, not sacrificing one thing for another. And we're making all of our toppings in-house, including our juices. What's not is sourced locally, our produce, our coffee. And the environment and the experience that we make is really the one thing that I think will forever make us stand out amongst competitors, because we have all live plants and warmer wood, and we spend a little more on our finishes just to create that environment. And I think that's what we always have as one step up as compared to other juice bars or coffee shops. But we also have everything under one roof. So our clientele is very, very wide. People who just want a coffee can come to us. People who want a nice cold pressed juice can come to us. People who want substantial food that's going to fill them up, they can also come to us. And really, with all of that, you're creating experience for someone where they can come and they can brunch, they can have an office meeting, or they can just be super quick on their way to work for a cup of coffee or whatever that may be. And I think really that's the reason why our financials are impressive as well, because we have everything under one roof while still making it quick serve without the overhead that full service restaurants and cafes have.
Yeah, right. So good. My goodness. And so here's the deal. If you're watching this right now, you're like, man, I'm interested. I want to hear more. I want to begin a conversation. I want to see if my territory is open. Well, we want to give you that opportunity. That's why we're doing this whole thing, right? And so your very next step, I'm going to drop it into the comments as well, but it's going to be here. We want to see first, do you qualify for this brand? Is this a good fit for you? And are you a good fit for it? And so you're going to go to the first step will be a qualification assessment, and that'll take you 5-10 minutes to fill out. That will be step one. If you really want to dive in, you're serious about entrepreneurship and looking at your next best franchise, this is where it starts. A lot of times in my process as a consultant, as I help people find their next best franchise, usually I go to a whole strategy session. I'll go to, we'll do a whole showcase where I'll show you a number of brands. But if this is the one you believe is for you, you start here, and then we'll have a conversation and connect you directly to the franchise development manager and director, and we'll go from there. So this will be your very first step to get into owning your piece of the Toastique empire that has already been exploding and continuing to do so. Brianna, man, I am so excited about this and to be a part of Toastique in some way as well. And so, again, seriously, thank you so much for your time being a part of this. If you're viewing this right now, we're gonna show you a little inside look at what one of the stores look like to kind of wrap this up. But before we do, Brianna, again, thank you so much. Your insight, your heartbeat for this brand is infectious. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Thank you so much, Jared. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Well, everyone, enjoy kind of an inside look on one of the stores in the Washington, D.C. area. If you're there or if you're in a city already has one, go check it out and see what it is all about.
Brianna, the founder of Toastique, and I'm going to take you on a little tour of our newest location in D.C. What's really great about this location specifically, it's very residential. We're actually underneath condominiums. As long as there's high foot traffic, our brand really lends itself to any demographic. I'd love to take you guys for a tour, so follow me. So here we have our grab and go section. Every Toastique has one of these. They're filled with our fresh juices in 2 sizes, kombucha, fresh made salads. This is also a great source of revenue for the people that want a quick grab and go. Here we're standing at our pickup area where customers will pick up their orders. We've expanded to online ordering and partnering with third parties to get our food everywhere. Here at Toastique, we have a very diverse menu. We have everything from gourmet toast to cold pressed juice to smoothies, acai bowls. We can tend to any dietary restrictions, so if you're gluten-free or vegan, we can always make something for you. One really great thing about our cold pressed juicer is that unlike the other juicers that you juice instantly, It's a slower process and it never heats up the fruits and vegetables, so it retains all the enzymes and nutrients in those produce. And because of that, cold pressed juice is one of our best sellers here. So here we are behind the line in our open kitchen so the customers can see everything we're doing, making all their toast from scratch, making their bowls, their smoothies, and something that Toastique really has an advantage on of our competitors is that we do make everything from scratch. Our peanut butter, our hummus, our jam, we even marinate tomatoes that go in the avocado smash, and that's what makes Toastique really special.